Welcome back, everybody, to the Siam Smoke Sessions podcast. Today, we have a very interesting guest because without this man, I might not even be here talking to you right now. This man is a divider? No, an anti-divider. He brings us together, a connector. He is a man who has brought a lot of people together, a beautiful platform called Discord. Today, I have John the Baptist. How are you doing, John?
Hi there, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm John the Baptist, the owner of the CannabisThailand Discord.
And like I said, without that Discord, we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have met Bill. I wouldn't have met a lot of people, really. So it's kind of an honor to have, you're like the god of the podcast. You created us in some way.
Oh, such an honor.
So, like, what made you first come to Thailand, my guy?
I first came to Thailand in 2016. Obviously, I was living back in England. Life wasn't too great. I was, soul searching and, trying to find the right job. After I left university, I just couldn't figure out what was, the right path to take. I did a lot of different jobs and, I just thought, let's just go traveling. I traveled around Europe quite a bit. I took like a road trip around Europe, and saw a lot of countries there. And, I really wanted to go somewhere, with a totally different sort of vibe, a totally different, it's a different world really, from anything that I'd ever experienced, aside from, family holidays and stuff. I just thought, let's go I was umming and ahhing between going to South America or Southeast Asia. And I just felt like, Asia would be cool. Let's go there. I went to Phuket, actually. I had found a really cheap one-way flight to Phuket from Manchester. It was like £150 or something ridiculous. I don't know why it was so cheap. I ended up in Phuket and started all from there. And that was about 7 years ago.
How time has flown. So, another question is, did Thailand come before the cannabis, or did cannabis come before Thailand?
Oh, cannabis came way before Thailand, that's for sure. I started smoking when I was, I started getting into it a little bit when I was 16, at the back end of high school. A couple of joints and more, I wanted to be the cool guy. I went to a Catholic school as well, so I was like, the guy with the weed, and that sort of gave me a bit of an edge, you might say, in that respect. But I didn't sort of start, daily smoking until I was 17. And then, that's when it got pretty heavy, and went from there, really, yeah.
So I take it you were one of the many people that when legalization happened, you were a bit overjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it was sort of happening, actually. I was ducking the police, as you do when, you're smoking weed illegally in Thailand. It's quite a stressful experience, and they legalized it in some form, I remember. Probably a couple of years ago before they fully legalized. They legalized CBD or CBD oil or anything with less than 0.2% THC. We thought that was the end. And then June 16th or 19th, I can't remember the exact date, was coming around, and there was some talk that, oh no, it's like the real deal. It's being removed from the Category 5 narcotics list, and it's going to be, as freer than any other country in the world, it seems. I was very pleased. And funnily enough, a short anecdote, I saw a dispensary-style cafe, Amsterdam-style cafe, coffee shop thing in Pattaya, a few weeks before legalization, before the June sort of D-Day, and I drove there purely just to check it out, to see if it was real. And they were selling flowers over the counter. You could smoke inside, very Amsterdam style. I smoked a joint, got super paranoid that the police were going to bust in any second, and then just left and went home. Yeah.
It was the same for me when I came over and had to come to terms, I guess, with how kind of free it was. Even when I was on the subway and stuff, I was just paranoid that people would smell something on me, but no one gave a shit. And it was kind of, liberating in a way because, you know, even in places like Amsterdam, Spain, and, well, there's places I've gone kind of legalized, there is like a public frown on it and stuff. Like, the amount of Spanish clubs I know that sadly get raided for random shit is hilarious, but like in Thailand, it was a bit like a wild west of weed for, like, and it still kind of feels that way. I mean, fingers crossed for tomorrow that it does all up my arse, but, you know, I'm excited for it, so I hope it stays somewhat, you know, the way it is. I know we've had big discussions on the Discord recently about this, and some people are very paranoid about how it's going to go, and some are really not giving a shit, but fingers crossed it kind of keeps this kind of energy about it.
Yeah, I would totally agree. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to be reversing it. They're not going to be scaling it back in any meaningful way, personally. It might be like a sort of, oh, you need a doctor's card, and everyone will be going to a doctor with insomnia, and, you know, I think that was the thing in Canada or California for a while. But I think that might be it, to be honest. I think that's as far as it would go.
Definitely. Like, Thailand is a country, and I don't mean it can be a good thing and a bad thing. It's very driven by money. And one of my, like, argument points for a lot of people is when they are, like, very paranoid it's going to be back in. It's like, there are almost 5,000 individual shops in Thailand alone. And if they stopped that all at once, the amount of money loss that would happen would be ridiculous. And I don't personally think a lot of people want to risk that. There's a lot of people, again, that love to save face. You know, we have some very charismatic characters in Thai politics. But I don't think we can go back. To me, it's like the genie is out the bottle.
Yeah, and I made the analogy as well in the Discord, you know, Pandora's box has been opened. If Pandora's box was full of weed smoke and dispensaries, you know, it's not going back in. What's done is done. And like you mentioned about saving face and about money, totally true. I think there is, and to be honest, Thailand has a very rich, deep history of cannabis consumption, you know, going all the way back, you know, to the Vietnam War, you know, soldiers coming over from Vietnam on R&R, you know, smoking, you know, Thailand-raised strains, sativas, and, you know, the sort of beach hut, smoking a doobie vibe. You know, that's been there since, you know, since tourism, basically. And, yeah, I think the way it is now is awesome. It's great. And, you know, it's quite a forward-thinking thing that Thailand's done. It's a tourism country. People like to smoke weed. People are going to smoke weed regardless of whether it's illegal or illegal. You might as well, you know, put the money in the hands of legitimate business people. And, yeah, I think that's all I've got to say.
100%. Completely agree with you. So, like, throughout this journey, what was it that made you kind of go, I'm going to make a Discord? I mean, are you one of the fellow people that started on the Reddit page and went from there, or?
Well, yeah, I used to go on the CannabisThailand Reddit. Shout out to the moderator there. A lot of good work. And basically there was like a rule, and this is before legalization, you see, before the June D-Day, and you weren't allowed to ask for connects, and really all I was looking for was a better plug, because I had my guy, one guy, and he used to, you know, I could get decent flowers from him. It's quite expensive, 700 baht a gram, you know. I used to leave it a bit like a special, like, bush that you'd leave it at, and then I'd go pick it up, and then I'd transfer him the money. So actually, I never saw this. I've met him a few times, but I hardly ever saw him. In a couple of years, I saw him maybe twice, and once was just randomly on the street, you know. It was always this sort of clandestine pick up and drop off. But yeah, I was just looking for better plugs, basically. You know, I saw a lot of people were getting good quality weed, like outdoor grown, you know, some nice looking buds, and I was like, you know, I want some of that. I want some 300 baht, 200 baht a gram weed. You know, my choice was the high grade and the brick, but I was looking for the mids, basically. And anyway, yeah, so you weren't allowed to look for plugs on Reddit, sorry. And I asked the mod, I said, you know, have you made a Discord? Is there a Discord? I thought that might be a bit more private, a little bit more, you know, a more of a, private way to communicate with fellow enthusiasts. And he was like, no, but if you want to make one, you know, make one, and I'll put it in the, like, he'll tag it, you know, he'll drop a link. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll make one. And I'd never made a Discord in my life. I've only ever used Discord to play games with my friends in their servers. You know, I'd never made a server myself. I just made it, sent him the link, he put it up, and, you know, the members just flooded in, really. Yeah, it just sort of snowballed. It's I think people were also like, oh yeah, cool, Discord. You know, I use Discord. I think the Cannabis Thailand mod, he's a little bit of an old guy, not super tech savvy. He was a moderator on the Discord for a while, but just was not active at all. I don't think it was his thing. He still plugs the Discord in his Cannabis Thailand wiki. So yeah, shout out again to him. And that's how it started, basically.
And yeah, shout out to him. Hopefully he's spoken to Bill a little bit, and hopefully he's going to come on a podcast to just talk about his experience as well. But like, it is interesting how kind of big the Discord has formed, you know, from that Reddit and everything. Like, the other day I noticed someone I didn't know was even interested to Thailand, like a mutual of mine from like the more English cannabis scene, just like joined the Discord. Oh shit, okay, this is pretty interesting. And again, what's really cool with the Discord,
that's cool.
Without it, as like, we wouldn't have met, I wouldn't have met Bill, this podcast wouldn't be here. You can go probably find my first interaction with like Bill in the Discord, and it all came from that. Like, some of the best people I've met have been through Discord, so shout out to you guys listening. And yeah, I can't be thankful enough for it. It's been a really kind of cool community hub, and I like seeing what's going on all around the place. There's a lot of interesting characters. I mean, I'm sure a few people, if they are listening, will know of the OG Wags, who, R.I.P. my boy. Yeah. But if you want to see some of the hilarity of that Discord...
Well, actually, yeah. Funnily enough, he actually messaged Gregory trying to get back in, and we held a vote whether we should let him back in, but it failed to pass. So, yeah, he did try to regain entry. I wanted him back in just for the laughs, a bit of light trolling. But no, the council spoke, and they decided he wasn't worth the time. So, yeah. Never mind, Wags. Next time, maybe.
I pour one out for Wags. R.I.P. little guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is why the Discord is amazing, because it started like projects like this. There's all these crazy, interesting people. And like, I know there's a lot of other people that are very thankful for the Discord, and like from your Discord have started their own and stuff. So I think Discord is going to be a really cool tool, like social media wise. I don't think it's like actually seeing its full potential in regards to a lot of normal people. Usually it's like gamers or kind of chronically online people.
Yeah.
But like
young people.
But to me it's like Facebook, but way better.
Yeah, for localized discussions, specific discussions, I think it's awesome. You know, I've joined other Discords about other sort of communities and topics, and some of them have been quite interesting. Some of them I just think, oh my gosh, you guys, you need to get a life, and I'm almost a bit embarrassed to be like a Discord admin, Discord mod. They've got that sort of stereotype, of that oh kitten, you've not responded to my message, or some, that kind of thing. But yeah, like, I just made it because I purely just wanted to connect with other, and because obviously when it was illegal, people guarded their cannabis use. You didn't know who you could trust, because they might know the police, they might shake you down for a few 10,000 baht or whatever. And yeah, I was very paranoid. I kept it totally secret. I never smoked with anyone up until legalization, because I just didn't want to get into trouble. I didn't want to have any issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was looking for those meet people like that. And yeah, when I made it, I saw that people were actually joining, and Vayu joined. He was one of the OGs, and Greg joined. Greg was really, even when he wasn't even a moderator or anything, he was just a normal member. He was super into trying to make it the best sort of place. And yeah, I'm not super tech savvy, especially when it comes to Discord. So I recruited them, their help. Asked them to help me. Let's make this place really awesome. And we created all these different channels, and threads and stuff where you can have specific discussions. And when people would, let's have this one. Oh, can we add this one? Can we add like growing supplies and etc. And yeah, it's certainly a really awesome place for this type of discussion and for meeting new people who have that sort of shared passion. And I was always really surprised that people with farms were joining, people with their own dispensaries were joining. Vayu was in it before he even opened his dispensary. He opened a tiny little dispensary in Chandotak Market, and that got shut down. And then he was looking for his a new spot, where he opened it up in Koreatown. Shout out to Best Buds, by the way, in Koreatown. So yeah, I'm really pleased about the form it's taken. Everyone's super chill. Everyone's really just passionate about the weed and about what's going on in Thailand, and everyone's quite mature. Yeah, I think it's a great space.
Definitely, and a massive shout out to Vayu and Best Buds, because honestly, the best birthday I probably ever had at that place. Him and his team are so sweet and humble and just amazing to be around. So, like, if any of you guys are in Bangkok, go to Koreatown, go to Best Buds. Trust me, even if Vayu isn't there, his aura is around. That guy is hilarious, and I love him, like, personally. No homo, Vayu.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. And every time I've been there and seen him, he's always super baked as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can also go and eat a nice Korean barbecue buffet downstairs after you've smoked up, which is also an added benefit. So.
Yeah.
But another thing, I met Jeremy, who you had on your podcast as well.
Yep.
And I went to go meet him down in Koh Samui and hung out with him. I got a shout out to Jeremy and his shop down in Koh Samui. Which is called Buds for Life, I think, and It's the Hangout. That's it, the Hangout. I can't remember where exactly it is in Koh Samui. Mena, I think.
Yes, perhaps. I think it is.
Don't quote me on that though. But yeah, definitely. If you're ever in Koh Samui, you've got to go there. Play some PS5 and play some board games. He's got really nice weed, super good pricing and stuff. Really chill guy, awesome to talk to. As soon as I met Jeremy, I really liked him. And yeah, I wouldn't have met him if it wasn't through the Discord,
Exactly, and that's again why I give praise to you, because all these connections, even just me and you talking about it, there's so many other people that have connected through the Discord and done their own stuff. Like with the Prem Pravi Cup that like I've been helping out with, there's so many people from the Discord, like Infamous and Potent Product stuff. They've like happily came and joined to help out, and like I'm grateful for that massively. So. Everyone join the Discord. I keep telling you, do it. It's amazing, because even if you're not interested in, like, cannabis, we say some hilarious shit at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if you ever have, like, everyone's super helpful. If you ever just have, like, tourism information and stuff, you go on holiday and you want to know, like, but people are always active, you see, and people are always, like, willing just to sort of help you out with anything like that. So, yeah, come join. I think we're up to 1,200 members nearly. Just sort of teetering on that, which is pretty cool. I don't want to take like full credit. I've got to shout out Greg. He's like, the Archbishop of the Discord, the Godfather. I feel like I'm just the creator, and if I hadn't got there first, someone else would have done it. And I'm sure they would have done a great job as well, and made something pretty similar. I think I was just first to the punch, which does count, but yeah. Got to shout out all the mod team and stuff for really building it, and especially the guys with the technical knowledge, being able to make it like a real Discord, like a cool Discord, not just some half-baked sort of shitty little thing,
Yeah. So, are we going to be seeing you coming up north anytime soon?
I'm not a huge fan of the north. I like the food, but yeah, I've been to the north so many times. I've seen all of the temples. My wife, she likes to go to the north, so I end up going to the north quite often. But yeah, and the pollution, you have to pick the right time to go. But not anytime soon, I don't think. Are you there now, are you, or?
I will be there at the end of next month.
At the end of next month, right, okay. But you're going to be in Bangkok at all? Surely you will for a little bit before you fly there. I just need to see what my kind of layover time is, and if they will allow me out the airport, even just for a little bit, but I'm going to let people know. Oh, okay. I think you should just do, like, a night in Bangkok, one night in Bangkok, and I'm sure we could do a little meet-up and stuff at Best Buds or something. That'd be cool.
I definitely think that's what I'm going to do on the way back from Chiang Mai, at least spend a day there or two, so...
Oh, cool. If you're on the way back, whenever, yeah.
So that would be cool. But as well, if anyone's interested, I'm going to be like doing a little event up Chiang Mai in July, hopefully. Sorting out a venue at the moment. There's already a lot of people interested. So like shout out to Baked Thailand, Flying Tiger, The Spot, all the people from the Thai Hive Facebook or social medias, which I think that group should also come join the Discord, because there's a few people that I kind of pester to join and then are not tech savvy, I guess, but But yeah, so like, what?
Well, yeah, man. If you know any other groups, I'd love to collaborate with them and share members and stuff. I'm not sort of like gatekeeping the members or anything like that. Perhaps on other Cannabis Thailand Discords there might be, but Facebook and stuff. No, I'd love to get involved with them as well. Help grow it.
Awesome. When I release this episode, I'll kind of push it a little bit then.
Yeah.
So for you, what's kind of been your like favorite experiences regarding cannabis legalization in Thailand?
Oh, it's just, I think the awe of it, obviously we're both British. We've both probably been thinking about legal cannabis in the UK since we took our first puff, and I've always wanted to live in a country where I could grow weed and weed was legal. I could just go to the shop and buy it, not have to wait, an hour for a dealer that said he'd be 5 minutes,
Yep.
for an underweight bag in the cold. You know how it is. That sort of classic British experience, and they tell you it's like Bubba Kush, but it's cheese. It's always cheese. So I think just like I've been to Amsterdam lots of times, so I've had that experience. But just in Thailand, it's just such, with the great food, the great weather, it just suits it so well. So that whole just like, picking up a gram, smoking a doobie, going to get some like, I don't know, kalmudang or some like pad krapao, just like going to get some nice Thai food, or going to the buffet, and just being, and like stinking of weed, being obviously blazed and not being paranoid at all, because what I'm doing is totally like legit. Like that was always been a great experience, as well as just checking out lots of different dispensaries. They've all got, I think there's not this like big weed TM kind of vibe either. It's all sort of grassroots people opening their own little shops. You've got these, behemoth big money shops where they've invested a lot. You've got your mum and pop shops where it's just like, I went to this one place. It used to be a restaurant, and they shut the restaurant down and just started selling outdoor grown weed that they got from the north. He had an uncle or a cousin who was had a big farm. He's just growing outdoor stuff, and they were sending it there. 50 baht a gram, 20 baht a gram. Super like chow ban style. And then you've got your other places with, nice sort of individual smoking rooms with their imports, and I love the sort of the duality or the opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It was interesting for me, like, there was one dispensary, I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was like, everyone was wearing, like, the bud tenders were wearing suits, everything looked like in a, like, specifically designed glass jar. I think I posted a picture on the Discord when I was there, but it was just, when I had experienced that, and then some of, like, the craziness that goes on at, like, Khao San Road and near Soy Cowboy of, like, literal curbside weed sellers, it's like, oh, the spectrum is massive.
Yeah, for sure. I did see that picture as well. Like those crystally sort of jars, the type you might find in your grandma's house, Yeah. It was like, yeah, that kind of vibe, yeah. Well, certainly after months or maybe a few weeks after legalization, where there was actually zero regulation, where, you could sell to pregnant people, you could sell to a toddler, and it wouldn't be technically breaking the law. When you'd go down like Khao San Road or something, there'd be people selling it on the back of their motorbikes, people just like putting up a table and selling their wares, They shut that down pretty quickly though, within 4 months, I think, 3 months. But yeah, it was certainly a Wild West initially. It was weed everywhere. Well, actually, that's not true. It wasn't weed everywhere. In certain areas, there was weed everywhere. But in my area, there wasn't any shops, and I'd have to travel to Bangkok or order online. But yeah, shout out to a couple of the guys in the Discord who were plugging me for online sales at the start. I instantly replaced my plug. But yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the best recommendations and people I got all through the Discord. And definitely, like, when I saw some of the prices I was seeing online and the quality on the app line for those Westerners that don't know about, like, the Asian WhatsApp, I guess you would call it. There was a lot of people just, like, selling really bad stuff at really high price. And I'm not going to name names, but lol, shame on you.
Oh yeah, I mean, at the beginning we had like a channel for like scams and stuff, and for like basically you could post reviews for online sellers, because at the beginning there wasn't any law against selling it online, so that was like huge at the time. People would get ripped off. There'd be pictures of this like gassy black like crystally weed, and then you'd get basically just like brick that's not being compressed into brick, just outdoor bush. And then we could warn each other, hey, don't get from this shop. Another place, like, yeah, like, here's the weed I ordered, here's it came, 300 baht a gram is great. Go for it.
Yeah, 100%. It. I remember the subcategory of topic, and it was a good one because I did like to just scroll through and personally kind of laugh. I kind of felt for people.
Yeah.
I just felt for people. Like, I don't mean laughing at them. It's just there was some very scummy people at the start,
For sure. But also, shout out to everyone in the Discord who was like guinea pigging themselves, trying out all these different online sellers to see, who was like going to be the best, and yeah, they get ripped off sometimes for 1,000 baht or a couple of thousand baht. But yeah, thanks for that, because you really helped out people find out who the gems are. The diamonds amongst the shit, basically.
And I guess one of my kind of last big, you think people who are interested in cannabis and Thailand should know? I like to ask this question. There's a lot of people have different opinions on varying ends of the question, so.
What do I think people who are interested in Thailand and cannabis should know? Is that the question? Sorry.
Yes.
It's a difficult question. I'm not really sure, to be honest. What should they know? I'd say, like, be sensible, I guess. Like, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how to answer. Like, if they're coming to Thailand and they're planning on, like, getting weed and stuff, yeah, like, be sensible, I suppose. Like, it's not legal to smoke just wherever you fancy. People do. I haven't heard of anyone being arrested for it. I remember some Grab drivers were smoking fat newbies outside my work today, and
yeah.
Some guy was smoking a big fat joint outside Tesco Lotus as well, and he was Thai. Obviously, they're all Thai. They don't give a toss. They don't care at all. But yeah, as a tourist, you might get shaken down. What should they know? Yeah, it's also, well, just like look out for the deals. Don't just like get from the first weed shop you see. Obviously, join the Discord for recommendations, of course. But yeah, and as well, don't be afraid to like walk out of shops. Sometimes you go into shops and they're trying to charge you like 800 baht for something which you'd easily find for like 400-500 baht. Don't be afraid just to be like, nah, I'm just gonna go, check out somewhere else. But yeah.
Oh, thank you for that, man. Yeah, I know it's kind of a difficult question to answer. It's kind of my ending snowball question I give to people because I know it can throw them off a little.
I hope I did all right.
No, you did, most definitely. Like, I mean, already, I've got to say, there was some English people that I know personally I saw, like, smoking openly in the street on Instagram stories, and all I'm going to say is just be careful. Like, again, there's not any, like, real arrests that have happened, but you don't want to kind of be the first, so.
Yeah, and I think you don't want to sort of damage the movement as well, I think. I always like to say that stoners are quite respectful people. Perhaps maybe I'm wrong to say that, I don't know, but like that's the rules. We're in a sort of tumultuous situation where they might be looking to there are lots of powerful political figures who are looking to roll this back. Let's not give them any excuse to. I suppose I'd say that as well. Like just keep it to yourself. Don't be smoking on the beach next to like families of Thai people, because they're just going to think you're a dickhead. And they're going to hate weed even more, and foreigners even more. Go to the other end of the beach where there's no one about, sure, whatever. Just use your common sense when it comes to stuff like that. It's legal, but it's not wherever you want legal, and certainly it's not socially acceptable in a lot of Thai people's minds still. I would just tell you that I don't smoke weed anymore.
Okay, that is okay. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't smoke weed anymore. I haven't since I have a couple of times, but pretty much, I used to be every day without fail.
Yeah.
Every evening for sure. I'd go through a gram of 100 in 2 days or whatever. But I stopped last October or last September, perhaps. Yeah, maybe at the middle of September I stopped. Yeah, I don't smoke at all anymore.
Wow, what kind of made you take that switch?
Well, I've been smoking for a long time, everyday use, and I think for me, I probably had an issue with how much cannabis I was smoking, and perhaps I had cannabis use disorder or something like that. I was certainly addicted to it, and yeah, I just don't I felt like I wasn't getting any benefit from doing this anymore. I was only seeing negatives. It was making me socially anxious. It was making me paranoid a bit and just, unmotivated, and, I was eating a lot, you get munchies, man. I just like eating, and I just wasn't focusing on the right things. It was probably after my daughter was born that I got quite serious about, like, I don't want to be like the stoner dad sort of guy, really. And after that, I just slowly got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to do it anymore. But I did have a really bad experience, actually, as well. I stopped for a week, and then I smoked a joint, and I just pranged out, man. Like, I felt really, really fucking bad, and I just felt really, really bad. I was having, like, an existential crisis. I kept thinking, I was, like, being super paranoid. The, like, line ringtone? So every time I'd hear that, I think it wasn't real. I think it was in my head. I didn't know why. I thought I was, like, imagining that sound, because I couldn't see where it was coming from, but obviously everyone's line's always going off, isn't it? And I was like, I don't ever want to feel like that again. And after that, I did. I smoked some low grade. I smoked some, like, outdoor grown stuff, and I had, it was fine. It was nice. And then I stopped again, and then I went to see Jeremy down in Gossamoy, and I got some CBD weed from him, which I loved, by the way. That stuff is amazing. Like, I love CBD weed. Shout out to CBD. And I smoked, like, 7 grams of that in the space of, I probably smoked 5 grams just sitting in his shop, to be honest. I smoked a lot of that for a little bit. I'll just leave that as well. I'll probably smoke a little bit of CBD, going forward in the future. But in terms of, like, THC weed, I really don't like it at all. And actually, to tell a lie, I did smoke some THC weed a few weeks ago. I just thought, my wife's gone away on holiday. I've got a couple of days to myself. I'll get a gram. Like, wasn't super strong stuff either. I smoked a little one pop, and I clacked white. I whiteyed. I was literally puking for a while as well. I don't know. Came over me, but I felt really unwell off it, and I was just like, I'm never smoking weed again, But I'm not, like, against weed, me. I'm not like, I don't smoke weed anymore, make it illegal again, But I was happy I was just happy to close that chapter of my life, I'm super enthusiastic about it, and obviously a big advocate for its legalization still. I think there should be a lot more information about, cannabis use disorder and harm reduction and the negative effects it can have on your life. I feel like sometimes people sort of tout it as a bit of a miracle herb, and that all your problems will go away if you don't think about them and you just blaze out your mind all the time, which is some element of truth to that. However, is it the right way to go about it? And I just have to leave it, basically.
I've got, like, massive love for that. And again, it's kind of, this is a side of things that people don't really talk about. Like you said, people kind of view cannabis as a miracle herb, but at the end of the day, anything in the world can be addictive and overused to the point that it's negative. Again, that should be talked about, not, like, misconstrued, like with the anti-weed propaganda side that Thai media loves, but the understanding of the medical side on the whole spectrum, because again, it can affect people negatively. So can, like, water, drink too much water, you can technically die. It's all about the understanding about, like you said, the misuse. And there are people who have the chronic disorders where even if they're not medically smoking, they think they have to constantly smoke, even just get by in a small basis. And, again, that can lead to multiple different, it's important to talk about, because if those issues do arrive, we've got to make sure to help those people as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it being illegal, cannabis being illegal, is part of the problem. The fact is that, I've been suffering with sort of cannabis-induced anxiety since I was smoking when I was a teenager. But the fact is, smoking weed with my friends, probably not teenager, actually, maybe like early 20s. And, the only weed I could get was super strong weed, there was no CBD weed, there was no outdoor grown that you could just go and get. You just want something a bit mellow, it was always super fat joints of super skunky weed, which I personally, I'll say for some people, that's just not good for you, and for me it wasn't. And I had some issues in my life in my younger years, my father's passing, and I was smoking weed before it, of course. My dad died when I was 19. I was smoking weed with my friends and stuff, and then, after my dad died, I'd be back out smoking weed again with my friends, and as a sort of escape from that kind of pain. And I just carried on. I just carried it on and on and on. Yeah, a lot of my friends, they sort of stopped. Some still do, but a lot of them, they stopped. And I didn't. I just kept going on with it. When I first came to Thailand, actually, I didn't smoke weed for like a year. And then I found hookup, and I started smoking weed every day. But yeah, I certainly relied on it in a way which was not healthy. I will say that. And yeah, I think that's all I need to say.
Yeah, I have massive respect for you though, man, for understanding that and actually making the decision to, because again, addiction, a lot of people is hard. It really is. And again, it's been interesting as well to see some people on the Discord even talk about it, and then talking again the first time a segment just about these little things, because people do get worried. So I think it's something that a lot of people need to be open to talk about. People don't like weed, personal reasons, that's okay,
Yes, and I think the cannabis community should be more open as well, and to helping people who are struggling with addiction, with cannabis addiction. And I'm going to make a channel actually in the Discord about cannabis addiction. Perhaps like a private channel which you have to request to join to keep things a bit more on the down low. Just to talk about whatever it is that's just troubling you. Don't get me wrong, it was super easy to stop smoking cannabis in terms of, when I decided that I actually wanted to stop, it was really easy to stop. I was grumpy for a day. I couldn't sleep for 5 days, or 4 days. I had poor sleep for 4 or 5 days. Didn't have much of an appetite. And then, you get used to being sober, I suppose. I don't drink either, you see, so I live quite a sober life. I just hit the nicotine vape constantly. But yeah, I don't drink, and I drink now and again, but I'm certainly not a drinker. So yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Thank you for bringing it up. Again, I had no idea you'd stopped for that long, and I knew a little bit, decreased smoking at least, but it's interesting that side, and I am looking forward to, even though I say I'm an addict, I'm definitely interesting to seeing that segment of the Discord, people's ideas and thing again, I think should be talked about. And like you said, the cannabis community needs to be a bit more open for these kind of things, because if we want things to go right, we do need to talk about every single aspect of it.
Yes, definitely. My argument has always been, people are going to do it regardless of its legality. You might as well just make it legal, because the harm and the amount of people that do suffer with sort of the negative side effects of addiction, you might say, is so low. The harm of it overall is so low. I think it just should be legal, regardless of any negative effects. The argument can be made, if alcohol is legal, which kills hundreds of thousands of people a year, you can die. You can overdose on alcohol quite easily. It is impossible to overdose on cannabis, from smoking it alone. Don't quote me on that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the science has changed, but that's what I always believed. Maybe with some distillates and stuff, I'm not sure. But yeah, smoking buds, you're not going to die from that. You might prang out, you might vomit, but you'll wake up and you should feel okay. If alcohol can be legal, certainly cannabis should be legal.
Yeah, that's always been my argument. I've seen alcohol actually kill people. I've not really ever seen, there hasn't been anyone that's died, smoking a joint. I believe there was a study, well, not a study, but a Reddit math, trying to work out how much it would be to overdose. And it was something ridiculous, 3 times your own body weight in extract, and you've got to do it within 5 minutes or something like that. So
yeah, you can do it really quick,
before
you fall asleep.
Just put a little bazooka in your mouth and see how. Yeah. So I don't think anyone's going to be dying.
There's that joke, isn't it? The only way to die from weed is to have a load of weed fall on top of you, be killed by someone called weed or something like that. This is my old joke about it.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah, the only person to die of weed was being killed by a man called Weed, something like that.
Yeah.
No,
but yeah, I think there is a lot of stigma. I think I remember when people would be like, I want to stop smoking weed, and people would be like, it's because you can't hack it and you're somehow lesser. That you can no longer continue with the upkeep of smoking all the time. And I feel like moderation is key in everything you do in life. And I think with cannabis, sometimes people can easily slip out of what is moderation.
Most definitely. Like, one of the arguments I see sometimes when people are like, well, I don't like weed, and then the reply is like, well, you've just not tried the right strain. Shut up. Maybe they actually just don't like weed.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And some people don't like drinking, some people don't like, doing lots of other things, and that's totally okay. I would recommend CBD though. I love CBD weed. Like, I felt it was such a breakthrough in terms of what I was looking for from cannabis. Is just to actually just relax. Like, I don't want to be cabbaged. I actually just want the feeling of being relaxed, and yeah, CBD weed was awesome for that.
Yeah, and like, I know Bill personally, he really likes 1-to-1, which is really cool to see, and expecting anyone to really be growing that yet. Having a 1-to-1 ratio is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said to you before, if there was sort of legalization in the UK, if there was access to that kind of weed, then, perhaps things would have worked out a bit differently for me. I think I've maybe just abused it too much, and I've maybe ruined it for myself. Perhaps, in a good few years, I might return to it in a more moderate fashion. But certainly at the moment, if I start smoking, then I just fall back into everyday use pretty quickly. Yeah. As has been, throughout my life. I've stopped many times, and then I've started again, and then before I know it, I'm back to, buying 10 bags every day, and, that was it, And, yeah, I'm much happier now that I've quit, personally.
Like, just kudos to you, man. Because, again, I know you said it wasn't difficult, but, I'm kind of glad you could tell that story for people, because I'm sure there are people listening that, might feel a little bit the same way. So, and again, like, even as a smoker, I don't say everyone should smoke, If they don't want to, they don't want to. If people want to change. It's just kind of the understanding, I think, is what's most important in this kind of community.
Yeah. I think it has. When did you start smoking, by the way?
So, the first time was interesting because I was 15 for the first, and then it was 3 years later that I actually even thought about it again.
So, do you smoke every day, or?
If I need to get social, I do. That's kind of my main usage. I mean, I spoke about it a little bit. I can be very autistic, and kind of communication, especially doing podcasting, it could be a little bit difficult to be in the mindset of being able to actually communicate. So that's kind of my usage.
Oh, something the exact opposite. If I smoke a joint, I don't want to talk, and I can't talk because I'm too much in my head.
See, and that's why I find it really interesting, because it can do that. It does a lot of different things to different people, and I think the understanding that is how it is. It's just, you're going to just feel this. One person's experience is very different to another person's experience.
Yeah, and sure, and strains as well. Different strains make you feel differently. Different THC contents as well. How much you're going to smoke. Yeah, and the people you're with as well. Certainly, if I'm smoking on my own, one strain, I'm smoking with other people, a different strain, the experience will be totally different, I think. It is a very unique plant in that respect, in my opinion.
Most definitely. So, is there any final thoughts or anything you want to say to the people? I mean, we plugged the Discord, and I hope people join. But anything else that anything?
Yeah, just shout out to everyone in the Discord. Thanks for keeping it a cool place, and shout out to all the stoners out there, wherever you may be. Free the weed, legalize it everywhere, all that jazz. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, and another thing, if you are struggling with cannabis addiction, don't be afraid to just sort of, seek help for that. And you never know. Or maybe even just taking a long break from it might do you some good if you're experiencing negative effects from cannabis. And you can quit easily. Don't have to worry about it.
100%. Thank you for that, man. It's been a pleasure to have you on. It's been interesting to hear your experience, knowing now that you...
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, yeah.
Yes, thank you again, man, and hopefully one day we'll kind of catch up in person in Thailand.
Yeah, man, for sure. When you come over, if you're in Bangkok, I'll definitely come out to see you. I won't be smoking, but, I'll be there. I'm pretty entertaining sober as well, So, yeah, I mean, I do, like I said, I don't drink often, I'm not a big drinker, but when I do go out, I will have a drink, and we can have a laugh and stuff. So man, I'll show you around Bangkok or whatever.
I really look forward to it, man. Finally meet the legend.
Yeah, I don't look like a typical Discord admin. by the way.
Okay, make sure you keep...
So whatever you've got in your head.
Make sure you keep the fedora at home, okay?
Yeah. The black leather trench coat as well.
Oh god, no. Okay, man, it's been awesome. Thank you again.
Yeah, but thanks a lot for having me, man. Yeah, it's been great talking to you. Shout out to the Discord guys, keep it up.
Thank you, and then thank you everyone listening. Definitely check out the link in the description for seeing all the shenanigans we've been talking about, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Science.